4. True road trip horror stories too creepy to ignore. Story 1. The Hitchhiker on Route 19. The night was ink black when Marcus and his sister drove down Route 19. Their headlights carved weak tunnels through the fog, and that's when they saw him, standing by the roadside. A man in a dark coat, head bowed, thumbs sticking out. Against his better judgment, Marcus slowed. His sister whispered, "Don't stop." But something about the man's hunched frame seemed desperate, broken. He climbed into the back seat without a word. The air turned colder, thick with damp earth. Marcus asked where he was headed. No response. His sister turned, and her breath caught. The back seat was empty. Only the wet impression of boots stained the floor mat. Terrified, Marcus pressed the gas, but the rearview mirror betrayed the truth. The man was sitting there again, staring, hollow-eyed. When they finally reached the next town, the car door creaked open by itself. The hitchhiker was gone, leaving behind muddy footprints that faded into nothing. For weeks, Marcus avoided Route 19, but late at night, he swears he still sees him waiting. Story 2. The gas station that Chauclair and Daniel were lost in the Nevada desert, their GPS spinning uselessly. Low on fuel, panic set in, until they spotted a glowing sign, "Last Chance Gas." The station looked frozen in time, pumps rusted, and a flickering light barely illuminating the cracked pavement. An old attendant shuffled out, his face strangely pale. "Fill it up?" he asked, voice flat. Claire nodded nervously, and Daniel paid. Inside, the store shelves were stocked with food decades out of date, cans with labels from the 70s, candy bars no longer made. Claire's unease grew when she glanced at a dusty newspaper on the counter. The date read, August 12th, 1974. They bolted to the car, hearts pounding. The tank was full, but the attendant was gone. No trace of him. As they sped off, Daniel glanced back. Only endless desert remained. The station had vanished. Later, they checked their odometer. It had jumped forward 50 miles, as if something or someone had carried them through LDN exist. Story 3. The Wrong Motel Room. Two college friends, Jenna and Sophie, pulled into a roadside motel just after midnight. The neon sign buzzed weakly, "Vacancy." The clerk barely looked up as he handed them the key to room 6. Inside, the room smelled of mildew and something metallic. Sophie turned on the light and froze. The wallpaper was slashed, the mirror cracked, and deep gouges marked the wooden floor. Jenna tried to laugh it off, but unease gnawed at them both. That night, Sophie woke to the sound of whispering. She turned and saw a man's silhouette crouched in the corner, his breath ragged. She screamed, and the figure vanished into the dark. They fled the room, banging on the clerk's door. But when he checked the register, confusion spread across his face. Room 6? That room's been locked for years, ever since the murders. When he opened it the next morning, the room was spotless. No broken mirror, no gouges, no sign anyone had ever been inside. But Jenna and Sophie will never forget the whispers or the figure that wasn't supposed to be there. Story 4. The Bridge That Traps You. A couple, Adam and Lily, were driving home for vacation when they came across an old wooden bridge. It stretched over a narrow river, the water black and silent. As they rolled across, the engine sputtered and died. The silence was suffocating. Then knocks from underneath the car. Slow, deliberate. Lily's voice shook. "Adam, don't look down." But he did, and through the gaps in the wood, pale hands reached upward, clawing at the undercarriage. The bridge shook violently. Desperate, Adam turned the key again, and the car roared back to life. Tires screeched as they sped off. But in the rearview mirror, Lily saw them. Dozens of shadowy figures standing on the bridge, watching. They returned weeks later in daylight. The bridge was gone. No trace of it on any map. Locals told them a story of travelers who vanished there decades ago, swallowed by the river and never found. Adam and Lily survived, but sometimes, on lonely roads, they still hear that knocking beneath their car.